Hey everyone! So in this video we're gonna talk about sedimentary rocks. There are three types of sedimentary rocks. There is inorganic, which is land-derived, called clastic or fragmental, and it is the most common type of sedimentary rocks. The second type is organic, which is called biochemical sedimentary rocks, and the third one is chemical sedimentary rocks. Now mostly we're gonna focus on clastic or fragmental sedimentary rocks. Now, what is clastic or fragmental sedimentary rocks? In easy words, let's say it is a rock that is formed from the remains of other rocks. These remains are glued together due to pressure. So, let's get deep into it. There are 5 steps to form clastic or fragmental sedimentary rock. First step, weathering, erosion, then deposition, then compaction, and finally cementation. Now these steps are somewhat familiar to you because you've already seen them when we studied about rock cycle last week. But now we're going to focus more on sedimentary rocks and these steps in them, and we're going to go more into details. So let's start. Weathering. Weathering is when the wind or rain slowly break down large rocks into smaller ones, into smaller particles that are called sediment, and they can vary in size. Erosion is when water moves the sediment to another place, and also erosion can happen by wind, ice, or gravity, but mostly by water. Deposition is when the wind or the water move the sediment to a new location, which can be a lake, a sea, or an ocean. So that means the sedimentary rocks are formed on or near Earth's surface. Compaction. The larger and heavier sediment are deposited first, then gradually the smaller and lighter sediment. This way, layers of sediment form at the bottom of the sea, lake, or the water. Cementation. The upper layer pushes the layer beneath them closer together. The water between the grain of the sediment evaporates, leaving behind it minerals that were dissolved in the water. And these minerals glue the sediment together and form sedimentary rock, clastic sedimentary rock to be specific. And the result is layers of clastic sedimentary rocks. Now, I'm gonna give you some examples of clastic or fragmental sedimentary rocks. You don't have to know them in details, you just have to know the names and have a general idea about each example of clastic sedimentary rock. First, we have sandstone. The grains of a sand in a sandstone are usually particles of a mineral, rock, or organic materials that have been reduced to a sand size by weathering. So that means that the particles in the sandstones are not actually sand, but have the size of sands. We also have conglomerate, which is a clastic sedimentary rock that contains large rounded particles like pebbles. And the space between these particles generally is filled with the smaller particles, which might be minerals like calcite and quartz. And these minerals cement these particles together and bind them into one rock. You don't have to know the names of the minerals, you just have to know that there are minerals who glue pebbles together to form this rock. Shale is a sedimentary rock, a clastic one, that forms from the compression of clay-sized mineral particles that are called mud. So shale is a mudstone, and shale is made of thin layers. So this is why when a shale is cut up with sharp tools, it breaks down into thin pieces as shown here. Now, as I said, the second type of sedimentary rocks is chemical. And chemical sedimentary rocks are formed when minerals precipitate from water. So, for example, we have rock salt, which is a chemical sedimentary rock that formed from the evaporation of ocean or saline lake waters. It is also known by halite. And some of these rock salts may be processed and used as a seasoning for food. So you may have been eating rock salt. Iron ore is also a chemical sedimentary rock, and it is formed from a chemical reaction that combine iron and oxygen in marine and fresh waters. So the primary use of iron ore is the production of iron. The third type of sedimentary rocks is biochemical and are formed from previously living things. We have coal. It's composed from the remains of plants that died. How is that? Layer upon layer of these dead plants accumulated and were compressed and turned into coal. And now we're going to say how it is black then. The green color of living plants is due to chlorophyll, and chlorophyll quickly dies when the plant dies, but the carbon content of the plant remains, which give coal its black color. We also have limestone. It is a rock formed from the skeletons of organisms that lives in water, such as corals, and it is the most famous type of biochemical sedimentary rocks. And the last one is dolomites, which is formed when limestones are modified by a magnesium-rich groundwater. Now, the last thing I wanna tell you, there are fossils in sedimentary rock. Fossils are any remain of prehistoric life. If fossils are present in a sedimentary rock, it is mostly, let's say almost certainly, a sediment rock. Now why is that? Sedimentary rocks are formed in a very low pressure and temperature compared to other rocks, to the extent that they do not destroy the remains of these fossils, like remains of the dead plants and animals buried in the rock. This is why there's fossils. So processes that create igneous and metamorphic rocks usually destroy any fossil remains. Now this is the end of this video, and I'm sure that you will be a great scientist one day.